Hari Hari Bol. All glories to Sam devotees. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. So today we are reading from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. Adi Lila. This is the first part of Chaitanya Charitamrita, chapter 9, text 42. Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jayo Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gora Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jayo Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gora Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jayo Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gora Bhakta Vrinda Etavajjanma sapalyam Etavajjanma sapalyam Deinam iyadeishu Deinam iyadeishu Pranair artair diyavacha Pranair artair diyavacha Shreya acharanam sada Shreya acharanam sada Etavajjanma sapalyam Deinam iyadeishu Pranay artai diyavacha Shreya acharanam sada. Please. Etavajjanma sapalyam Deinam iyadeishu Pranay artai diyavacha Shreya acharanam sada Etavajjanma sapalyam Deinam iyadeishu Pranay artai diyavacha Shreya acharanam sada. Etavajjanma sapalyam Deinam iyadeishu Pranay artai diyavacha Shreya acharanam sada. What does it mean? Etavat, up to this, janma, of birth, sapalyam, perfection, Deinam, of every living being, Ia, in this world, the issue towards those who are embodied. Pranay, by life. Artai, by wealth. Dia, by intelligence. Vacha, by words. Shreya, eternal good fortune. Acharanam, acting practically. Sada, always. Acting practically, always. Translation. It is the duty of every living being to perform welfare activities for the benefit of others with his life, wealth, intelligence, and words. Purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. There are two kinds of general activities: Shreyas, or activities which are ultimately beneficial and auspicious, and Preyas, or those which are immediately beneficial and auspicious. Shall I read again? This is not so easy. Huh? Do you know Shreya and Preyas? Huh? Everyone knows. Me too. Anyway, after we read again. But Prabhupada is explaining very nicely now. Anyway, for example, children are fond of playing. They do not want to go to school to receive an education. And they think that to play all day and night and enjoy with their friends is the aim of life. You follow? Is the aim of life. Even in the transcendental life of Lord Krishna, we find that when he was a child, he was very fond of playing with his friends of the same age, the cowherd boys. He will not even go home to take his dinner. Mother Yashoda will have to come out to induce him to come home. Thus, it is a child's nature to engage all day and night in play, not caring even for his health and other important concerns. This is an example of prayas, or immediately beneficial activities. But there are also shreyas, or activities which are ultimately auspicious. According to Vedic civilization, a human being must be God consciousness, or God conscious. He should understand what God is, what this material world is, who he is, and what the interrelationships are. This is called Shreyas, or ultimately auspicious activity. In this verse of Srimad Bhagavatam, it is said that one should be interested in Shreyas to achieve the ultimate goal of Shreyas, or good fortune. One should engage everything, including his life, wealth, and words, not only for himself, but for others also. However, unless one is interested in Shreyas in his own life, he cannot preach of Shreyas for the benefit of others. This is a very interesting point. Unless one is interested in Shreyas in his own life, he cannot preach of Shreyas for the benefit of others. This verse cited by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu applies to human beings, not to animals, as indicated in the previous verse by the words Manushya Janma. These injunctions are for human beings. Unfortunately, human beings, although they have the bodies of men, are becoming less than animals in their behavior. Sometimes Srila Prabhupada used strong words that we can understand. Very strong words. This is the fault of modern education. Modern educators do not know the aim of human life. They are simply concerned with how to develop the economic condition of their countries or of human society. This is also necessary. The Vedic civilization considers all aspects of human life, including dharma, religion, artha, economic development, kama, sense gratification, and moksha, liberation. Humanity's first concern should be religion. To be religious, one must abide by the orders of God. But unfortunately, people in this age have rejected religion and they are busy in economic development. Therefore, they will adopt any mean to get money. For economic development, one does not need to get money by hook or by crook. You understand these words? Maybe after you can help. One needs only sufficient money to maintain his body and soul. However, because modern economic development is going on with no religious background, people have become lusty, greedy, and mad after money. They are simply developing the qualities of rajas, passion, and tamas, ignorance, neglecting the other quality of nature, sattva, goodness, and the Brahminical qualifications. Therefore, the entire society is in chaos. The Bhagavatam says that it is the duty of an advanced human being to act in such a way as to facilitate human society's attainment of the ultimate goal of life. There is a similar verse in the Vishnu Purana, part 3, chapter 12, verse 45, which is next quoted in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Jai Shri Prabhupada. Read the verse again. It is the duty of every living being to perform welfare activities for the benefit of others with his life, wealth, intelligence, and words. Om Agyanatimirandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namine. Namaste Sarasvate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Desatarine Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. So, Hare Krishna, this, as is mentioned in the previous verse, is a verse from Srimad Bhagavatam. And also after I will really mention more about the relation of this verse with a very beautiful lila that is very much connected with this verse. This is Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th canto, from 10th canto, Srimad Bhagavatam. Now I don't remember the verses. To go to see which one, but so today, because we have our guest, Guido, we have to make a little bit more available for Guido. I had another idea, but somehow or other Krishna arranged in this way. Here in the temple we are reading every Sunday morning Chaitanya Charitamrita. Normally we are reading Srimad Bhagavatam, and this verse comes from Srimad Bhagavatam every day. This time, in our schedule, program, daily schedule. This time we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, and on Sunday we are reading from Chaitanya Charitamrita. Chaitanya Charitamrita is a little bit more philosophical, but in our practice, if we really want to come in practice of Krishna consciousness, it is said and recommended first we have to start from Bhagavad Gita. For the Sunday Feast program today at 2:00 there will be a Bhagavad Gita class, and this is the first approach to understand, as it is mentioned in this purport. Srila Prabhupada mentioned here. Srila Prabhupada mentioned we have to understand who we really are, why we are in this situation, why we are in this world, what we find every day in some situation that sometimes, but mostly every day, are not so suitable for us, not so comfortable for us. And Bhagavad Gita is the first one who gives us a real answer to these questions, to understand who we are, what we have to do. And in this verse, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the golden avatar, we said. Avatar means an emanation, a form of God. And this is the last form of God. And very near to us. He appeared 540, this year, around 546 years ago in India, in Navadvip. And he came to give us all that what we need to understand, to go through these situations and to practice, and also in very easy way to practice Krishna consciousness. And what is the most easy way? He gave to us the chanting of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. This Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, is available to everyone. We can take by hearing, we can take by reading, and we can have, and no one can take it away from us. No way. Sometimes in some places they try. As we know, some country, some places. Also in Germany in the beginning was not easy. They try to take away this practice of Krishna consciousness, but they fail because the chanting of the holy name of the Lord is really powerful. As Nico was saying before, yesterday was Ratha Yatra. Ratha Yatra is the festival chariot in Cologne. And now we have so many. Also, I think tomorrow already start. There's the Snana Yatra of Lord Jagannath, and then there will be very soon the number one Ratha Yatra festival. And what is the Ratha Yatra festival? It's the festival of the holy name, of the chanting of the holy name. Devotees assembled, come together, and they chant the holy name of the Lord. So, but interesting things is in these verses that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself, this extraordinary form of the Lord, come and telling us how we should act. Sometimes we think, oh, but I have nothing. I have maybe I am not so, I say, intelligent. I am not economically so, I don't have so many possibility. But this doesn't matter. This doesn't matter. This, when we get something good, our nature, when we get something, when we hear something good, or we have something good, the first thing will make us really happy is what? To share with someone, or to show someone what we got. Materially speaking, when we get something, we get a new car, when we get a new house, or we get new dress, people are changing dress every day to go and show, and so on. But in Krishna consciousness, the best activity in Krishna consciousness is to respect everyone and to give everyone the possibility to get the same that we have. Not only to show them, but to give them, to share with them. And this verse, this purport is speaking about this. One point is that Prabhupada mentioned in the purport that the normal instructions, school, they only teach you how to get prosperity, how to get economic development, how to get, money. Prabhupada used strong words. Kamala, what does it mean? Oak and crook.
It means like dishonest means.
Dishonest means
like
cheating, cheaters,
Cheating through the back door.
Yeah.
Not straightforward.
The society, they only want that we somehow get money and we spend money. Sometimes we have to spend more than what we get. And many people have problem for that. They really get out of control and whatever, One interesting point that we were speaking with some devotee also is when I start practicing Krishna consciousness in our time, was more easy to get out of such system, much more easy for anyone who start practicing Krishna consciousness. It was a little bit we call hippie time, but it was more a revolution, more that people were against this system, very much against the system. And now, in our time, in these days, in this time, it's more difficult. The youngs are, they can do it. Yes, as we saw here, we had a nice festival with youngs devotees singing the holy name. But they are more difficult to give up everything, just to abandon everything and to fully dedicate in Krishna consciousness. That's okay, Prabhupada said. It's not bad. But still, whatever we get, we have to share. Another example, materially speaking, but also economically, there was a man who had everything, but somehow or other, because what I mentioned, he lost everything. Then he didn't know how to start again. But, he found himself, after he lost everything, found himself in the street and asking for donation, And somehow he got 50 penny. He got this 50 penny, but without even knowing, he gave 25 penny to another, also need. And just by acting like that, without knowing, without know also Krishna philosophy, but without know, with this giving, this action of giving 25 penny, he start again. And he got back everything he had before, just because to give. Shishi Radha Madam Mohan ki jai, Shishi Gornitai ki jai. And this is the point of Krishna consciousness. This is the point that we should work daily. When we have something, we have to share. This is an activity extremely beneficial, extremely elevated. That we can, everyone can do it. No limit, doesn't matter where you come from, anyone can do it. And after this verse, also Prabhupada will go more often, but now I go a little bit more on Lila, more on Krishna's pastimes, because this is very nice connected, the story, with Krishna's pastimes. This is in Srimad Bhagavatam. Now I have to get, Madhav, you remember the number of the verse we read from Srimad Bhagavatam? The verse we read today comes from Srimad Bhagavatam, 10 canto, 22, 23, I think, yes. Chapter 22, yes. Because 23 then start the, but in Krishna book, we have a book that is summarized the 10th chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam, a much more easy to read, easy to understand Krishna's pastime, Krishna's life, all the meaning. Krishna appeared himself 5,000 years ago on this land in India, in Vrindavan, and performed his pastimes. And this is the text number 23 of, and then there are two other verses in the 22nd chapter, but the chapter 23 of Srimad Bhagavatam is, someone knows? Delivering the wife of the Brahmanas who perform sacrifice. As is also mentioned in the purport, Srila Prabhupada mentioned very nicely that also, as I said, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared in Navadvip in India more than 500 years ago, and Navadvip that time was very renowned, very famous place of studies philosophy. Not only Indian, but all world will go there and study philosophy. And there were many Brahmanas. Brahmanas are the one who are completely dedicated in the service of Krishna. But the point is that sometimes the Brahmanas take this philosophy and use it in a little distorted way, okay? In the sense that the Brahmanas get this knowledge, and to give the other, they get profit for themselves. Not to give like we are speaking today, to give freely, to give, as benefit for others, but for themselves. You understand? So in this Lila, in this pastime of Krishna, with the Gopas and the Brahmanas, this is called Smarta Brahmana. Smarta means very intelligent, but also smarta that they get profit on what they do, on what they speak. They get philosophy, but actually they don't know Krishna as a person. So in this pastime, one day, Krishna used to, he was a coward boy, simple life, and he will go to the pasturing ground with his friends to pasture, to, how you say, bring the cow for feeding the cow. You said there is an English word, don't come. So, and that morning, the Krishna's friend, they were they come a little late and they miss breakfast. They lost breakfast because of activities, and they got very angry. And they were very angry, and they asked Krishna. Krishna and Balaram is brother of Krishna. We are very hungry. We need to eat something. How shall we do? And Krishna then told the boys, the cowherd boys, go there, go to the Brahmanas and ask for food. Hmm? But don't tell them, because Krishna appeared in the court of Nanda Maharaj, and Nanda Maharaj was a Vaishya. Vaishya means merchant. Are you saying English?
A salesman or a merchant.
Merchants or a salesman, yeah, making business, buying and selling these things, you know. And this is Vaishya, like making shops, have a shop, and so on. But Balaram was the son of Vasudeva. Vasudeva was a Kshatriya. And they said to the boys, if you go to the Brahmanas, don't say that Krishna sent you, but say that Balaram sent you. Because if you said that Vaishya sent you, the Brahmanas will neglect you. And so, to make it short, the boys went to the Brahmana, and they start asking them. Then the Brahmana were engaged in yagya. Yagya means sacrifice, you know, to make an activity according to Vedas. You know, you have a fire, you have an offering to the fire, and they were doing also kind of animal yagya and so on. And as we said, they very much focused on making this activity. The boys were there and start asking, so we are come to need for help. We are very hungry. Lord Balaram sent us here. Can you give us some food? Help us. But the Brahmanas, they were so engaged that completely that they didn't even answer to the boys, nothing. They didn't even notice the boys. They were so fixed in their activities, they didn't notice the boys. And they were disappointed, isn't it?
They noticed them, but they didn't want to.
Okay. They noticed them, but they didn't want to give attention because they were very busy. So the boys went back to Krishna, and they explained the situation. So, and then what said Krishna? Krishna said, okay, then go to the wives of the Brahmanas. There are many points. It's quite long chapter, but many very beautiful points. And so the boys went back to Krishna. One point is, although the boys were village boys and were not expert in the learning of all the Vedic principles and religious rituals, they hinted that because of their association with Krishna and Balaram, they knew all those principles by addressing the Brahmana as knowers of all religious principles. This is one point, even if they were cowherd boys, but because they just associate with Krishna, they were together with Krishna, even as we said, they on looks externally, they were doing normal activities, it's playing, you know, all day and on the beside their duty, you know, pasturing the cows, but they were playing games, taking prasad together, eating, and so on. But they knew the philosophy. They knew because they have in contact with Krishna. So they tried to explain to the Brahman, it didn't work. So then went back to Krishna. Then the Krishna told, now you go to the wife. This sacrifice. Carrying out Krishna's order, the boys immediately went to the wives of the Brahmanas. They found the wives sitting inside the Brahmana's house. They were very beautiful, decorated with ornaments, and after offering them all respectful obeisances, the boys said, Dear mothers, please accept our humble obeisances and hear our statement. May we inform you that Lord Krishna and Balaram are nearby. They have come here with the cows, and you may know also that we have come here under their instructions. All of us are very hungry. Therefore, we have come to you for some food. Please give us something to eat for Krishna, Balaram, and ourselves. Difference between wife and husband, Brahmanas and wife of the Brahmanas. Immediately upon hearing this, the wife of the Brahmana became anxious for Krishna and Balaram. They wanted to meet immediately, they heard about Krishna and Balaram, but they never meet him, actually, and immediately they want to see. And they give the boys everything, the most suitable and good and tasty food they had. They give everything. And not only that, they immediately went with the boys to see Krishna and Balaram. And by doing this activity, they immediately went and left behind everything. Husband, father, mother, sons, everyone. Just, sometime when we have to, I would say, we have some situation, we have to act like that. You know what I mean? When we are in such situation, maybe we are in good situation or whatever, but someone needs help, we have to act immediately. Not only that, we want to see and to touch. And so immediately the wife, they neglected all their duties and they went to see. For a long time, the wives had been eager to see Krishna. However, when they were preparing to leave home to go see him, the husband, father, sons, and relatives asked them not to go. But the wife did not comply. When a devotee is called by the attraction of Krishna, he does not care for bodily ties. The woman entered the forest of Vrindavan on the bank of the Yamuna, which was verdant with vegetation and newly grown vines and flowers. Within the forest they saw Krishna and Balaram engaged in tending the cows, along with their very affectionately boyfriends. It explains how they meet Krishna. And this is a nice part. And then after there will be another that connected to our point. Within themselves, they began to embrace Krishna, not physically, but by seeing Krishna. It is said that by seeing Krishna, they mentally, with the heart, they embrace Krishna. And he said when they were looking at Krishna, Krishna looked at them, and immediately Krishna entered their heart. You understand? When we come near God, we come near Krishna, and we see him with our eyes. He is already there, but practically Krishna come and enter to you. They were just like great sages who, by their advancement of knowledge, merged into existence of the Supreme. As the super soul living in everyone's heart, Lord Krishna could understand their minds. They had come to him despite all protest of their relatives, father, husband, and brothers, and despite all the duties of household affairs. They came just to see him, who was their life and soul. They were exactly following Krishna's instruction in the Bhagavad Gita. One should surrender to him, giving up all varieties of occupational and religious duties. He therefore began to speak to them, smiling very magnificently. It should be noted in this connection that when Krishna entered into their wife's hearts, and when they embraced him and felt the transcendental bliss of being merged with him, the Supreme Lord Krishna did not lose his identity, nor did the individual wives lose theirs. The individuality of both the Lord and the wives remained, yet they felt oneness in existence. When a lover submits to his lover without any pinch of personal consideration, that is called oneness. Lord Chaitanya has taught us this feeling of oneness in his Shikshastaka. Krishna may act freely, doing whatever he likes, but the devotee should always be in oneness or in agreement with his desires. The oneness was exhibited by the wives of the Brahmanas in their love for Krishna. What else? There are so many points here that really get lost. But there was very important. In one point, the wife said, also when we come to Krishna, we come, as I said and mentioned before, many years ago, we come in touch with Krishna, and many devotees give up everything and remain with Krishna. And this somehow or other is good, but also we have to understand our duties. And this is interesting point. So the wife asked Krishna, so now we come in touch with you, become in love with you, and we want to stay with you. But what Krishna said, this is interesting, the answer of Krishna in this point. My dear wives of the Brahmanas, Krishna said, you can now return to your homes. Engage yourself in sacrificial activities and in the service of your husbands and household affairs, so that your husband will be pleased with you, and the sacrifice which they have begun will be properly executed. After all, your husbands are householders, and without your help, how can they execute their prescribed duties? You follow? Now, another point, as we mentioned, the husband, they neglect to serve Krishna, to serve the boys. And in the end of this chapter is very nicely explained. And they acted like that on the fear of their boss, because they had a boss, they were working for someone, and they were afraid, not to. They were afraid of this boss. This maybe you don't know now. Very difficult to explain also this. All the other knows Kamsa. Kamsa was a demon, like we have many demons in our time, and he was very busy in doing his activities. And they were somehow or other engaged in a service, and they were afraid, when they neglect the boys. This was the situation. But in the end, they asked forgiveness to the Lord. And they said, then I finish here. After the return of their wife from Krishna, the Brahmanas engaged in the performance sacrifice began to regret their sinful activities. In refusing food to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, they could finally understand their mistake. Engaged in the performance of faith rituals, they had neglected the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who had appeared just like an ordinary human being and asked for some food. They began to condemn themselves after seeing the faith and devotion of their wives. When they saw that the wives did completely otherwise of them, they understood their mistake. They regret very much that, although the wives were elevated to the platform of pure devotional service, they themselves could not understand even a little bit of how to love and offer transcendental loving service to the Supreme Lord, to the Supreme Soul. They began to talk among themselves. To hell with our being born Brahmana. To hell with our learning of the Vedic literatures. To hell with our performance of great sacrifices and observing all the rules and regulations. To hell with our family. To hell with our expert service and performance rituals, exactly according to the description of the scriptures. To hell with it all, for we have not developed transcendental loving service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is beyond the speculation and mind, body, and senses. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So this is very nice. We are somehow that I don't know how, even before Kamala Sita was asking to give this lecture, we were on this pastime. This is very nice. I really advise you to read this 23rd chapter of Krishna book. Krishna book, you know, you can, if you don't have any book, I'm speaking to Guido now, you can go on the Google and write Veda base or Veda base. You write Veda base, maybe after we can give you. And there you can find all the book, Srila Prabhupada books. And this is Krishna book called. Krishna book, as I said, is just a summum of the 10 canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, chapter 23, and very, very nice. And explain really what is the duty of human being, what we have to do. If we want to somehow rather to get a little relief from the situation, outside situations. Maybe outside also we can find many nice things. I don't want to say it all completely, but somehow rather, if there is no Krishna consciousness, God consciousness, and I don't want to say other religions are not, all religions are good, just have to find our situation. But all the system, as we see, is getting more and more and more against people, against this point. Hare Krishna, thank you very much. Yes, please.
I have a question. I want to say it's also the big book from the German that is all the books. It's called Minus Books.
It's not Krishna book in German.
Yeah, also Krishna die Quelle aller Freude.
Krishna die Quelle, yeah.
I think on database, not all the books are in German.
There is a German database.
Yes, there is
Yes?
a German database, but I think on the German database, they only have Bhagavad Gita and something else. So online, there are books in German.
But we have all the books anyway.
yeah. We have all the books.
Physically. Now we get more and more use. I'm reading here because I cannot see. You know, I have problem with my eyes. But to read books is the best things.
Es gibt auch in Englisch Audio auf YouTube. Eine von meinen Freunden hat eine Fischung wir können dich auf jeden Fall helfen.
And you will be with us the whole day, yeah? Today for Sunday feast?
I speak today and I leave in the afternoon.
In the afternoon.
Nach des Mittagsfest.
Okay, something else?
Yeah, I have a question regarding the purport of Srila Prabhupada.
Yes?
I don't understand. Srila Prabhupada writes in the purport, however, unless one is interested in Shreyas in his own life, he cannot preach of Shreyas for the benefit of others. First part of the question is, what is meant with Shreyas in my own life? As I would understand it as a good spend as long one is interested in Shreyas, but cannot preach Shreyas for the benefit of others. What is meant with it? What is one is interested in Shreyas in his own life?
I cannot.
Yeah, it's about Srila Prabhupada says this, as long as you are not interested in answering those philosophical questions in your own life. Why am I here? What is the purpose of life? Etc. As long as you are not personally doing it, you cannot preach to someone else.
For me, it's contradicted. Also, hier steht, however, unless one is interested in Shreyas, also solange man es versteht. Und deswegen verstehe ich das nicht.
Wenn du nicht in Shreyas interessiert, when you're not interested in Shreyas and Shreyas in your own life, then you won't give it.
Ja, das will ich verstehen, aber hier steht doch was anderes. Was?
Where is?
However, unless one is interested in Shreyas and his own life. Also für mich heißt es jetzt, solange ich am Shreyas in meinem eigenen Leben interessiert bin, kann ich
Nein,
nein,
wenn du nicht, unless heißt, wenn du nicht interessiert
Okay,
bist.
then I understood.
You understand?
English
Understand
will
that?
not come. Unless, okay, then it's
Also,
Unless you start studying
unless heißt, wenn du
Hare Krishna.
nicht-
Hare Krishna.
Okay, this was a misunderstanding of I thought unless means something different. Then I understand it because otherwise it was
In English, yeah, the problem in English. Okay.
Ja, solange man nicht. Okay, thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Because first you
Jai. Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita ki jai, Shri Radha Madhaman ki jai, Shri Gonitai ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gora Premanande.